Biomutant is a game we and probably you have been anticipating for some time, but it's also been some time since we've gotten an update on it. Here to give us an update is creative director Stefan Ljungqvist. Thanks so much for virtually joining us here.
All right. It's a pleasure. Just to see somebody else, you know, for a while. Yeah. That's awesome.
I know. Yeah, with no face mask on. What's such a treat? Okay, so Biomutant is a game our IGN audience is super excited for, but we haven't seen it since, I believe, Gamescom 2018, almost 2 years ago. What have you guys been up to?
Yes, spill the beans.
Game. It's the biggest game I worked on, and I worked on a few other big games in my time. So, and we are a small team, right? So we really, you know, put ourselves in the, you said it, went into a cave. That's the office. And really start working hard on all of the details of this huge world. It's 8 by 8 kilometers, right? It's a huge open world game with so many interlinked features. So it's a quite complex and challenging development also. And especially when you move into the later phases of the development, when you're actually starting, you know, to QA all of these features and the openness of the game and, you know, the nature of all of the different combinations that you as a player, because you have a quite wide, extensive toolbox, have at your disposal, can cause, you know, more challenges, bugs to solve.
Oh, dang.
And also then being a small team, that means that the amount of hands we have on deck compared to, you know, a huge
giant turtle
team are less.
Fuzzy turtle.
It's just a physical thing. The amount of issues that we can fix per day are
it is like a giant fuzzy turtle.
But, you know, we're taking our time, and I'm really happy that we are getting this time. Hopefully everybody will be patient with us, and then result, I hope, will be proven to be worthwhile the wait. We will do our absolute best to make sure it is.
Wait, let me see that again. That's like one of those weapons that like he was actually letting go of it. I think it was flinging out and like coming back to him. Let me see that again.
The result, I hope, will be proven to be worthwhile.
Let's watch that slower. Actually, I want to see this weapon a little bit more carefully.
I hope will be.
I want to see if he actually lets go of it. Yeah, he is letting go of it. It's like, unless maybe there's like a string you can't see. It's like something extending out.
Worthwhile the way.
No, I think he's actually.
We will do.
That's really well. No. There must be some kind of string attached. How else would he be bringing it back?
Your absolute.
I don't know. I'm not super familiar with that kind of weapon. It's like ninja stuff. It looks cool.
So the first thing you do is create your character. Right?
Bow staff.
Yes, and it's quite special. I mean, we got the question about, you know, this prominent character that we've been showing. I mean, you saw already here on this video that there are tons of different characters that you can create, right? So the poster boy, if you will, is
that like a grapple hook that you're fighting with?
It's like a
these animations look awesome.
Version of the character in this game. But it's really about the character that you create. So there are 6 different tribes in the game.
6 different tribes.
And actually, they all or each represent kind of a DNA string, if you will. So as a player, you're free to kind of mutate your own or morph your own version of each of these 6 DNA strands, if that makes sense. So it's not like choosing between 6 characters. It's like choosing between 6 DNA strands and morphing your own character, you know, in those within those DNA strands, and then choosing fur and fur patterns, etc. But the big thing here is like also, you know, the appearance.
Well, okay, but before we go on, I mean, you know, everybody wants to make it sound like this special, but at the end of the day, it really sounds like you're choosing between 6 starter classes in a way, and then you can customize them later as you go forward. So from the beginning, I mean, they showed some examples here. But there are 6 different, they call it like starting DNA strands. They represent different kinds of mutations, but they're effectively 6 different starting classes. You make your character, and I don't know if they actually specialize in different weapons, because we saw some examples here. This guy's fighting with like a grapple hook. And then this person, was this person using the kunai? I couldn't even really tell what this guy was holding. Yeah, it looks like a little short knife.
Showing, I mean, you saw already here.
He's spinning them so fast I can barely see. But yeah, so right from the beginning, you can kind of pick your Biomutant strand, and I assume they have their own different specialties that you can customize later on. At any rate, let's continue where we were.
And then choosing
Ninja Garo. Oh, was it nunchucks? But he threw one up, so I don't think it was nunchucks because it looked like a knife or something.
But the big thing here is like also, you know, the appearance of your character affects the stats. It's a full-blown RPG, you know, in the background. So I want to put emphasis on that.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm wondering is, while you're creating your character, are you seeing your stats go up and down while you're creating the shape of your character?
Yes. So it's kind of a seamless morphing with this, you know, DNA creation wheel, and that will change the stats live. So you kind of have a little bit of a balance going on there. Like if you choose a very strong character, he might not be the strongest in intellect, for example. You cannot create a really buff warrior at the same time as you have a really strong mutant with, you know, the psionic powers.
Oh, psionic powers.
As you go forward in the game, obviously you can choose to upgrade that any way you want. But in the beginning of the game, we're kind of putting you into this decision. Are you a fast and nimble? Are you, you know, a smart mutant, or are you a warrior or whatever?
Dude, okay, like look at these boss fights. Holy crap, they're so big and intimidating. Like I love it.
The next phase, which we haven't shown a lot in the character creator, is that you choose a class. So that's also kind of, you know, more akin to your traditional RPG. Like for example, a class would be a Psy-Freak. That's more of your X-Men mutant style, distant, let's say magic user.
He's got a little cowboy hat. I love it.
Or you can do Commando. That will make you look like Rambo, you know, with the bandana.
Oh, dude, this water movement looks awesome.
Chest. Obviously, it's furred, but and ammo belt, and so there's a number of classes there that will dictate.
Let me replay that. He was talking about the classes. I was so distracted by the gameplay, I didn't hear what he said.
In the game, we're kind of putting you into this decision. Are you a fast and nimble? Are you, you know, a smart mutant, or are you a warrior or whatever? And that also ties into the next phase, which we haven't shown a lot in the character creator, is that you choose a class. So that's also kind of, you know, more.
So there's two different things you do. So you kind of design your character, like, is he going to be smart? Is he going to be fast? Is he going to be really buff and strong? And then after that, you make a separate decision about what class you're going to be. And by the way, it's good to see you, Eco. It looks really, really cool. I like it. Out soon? No, I don't actually think there's a release date yet. It's coming 2020.
Into your traditional RPG, like for example, a class would be a Psy-Freak. That's more of your X-Men mutant style, distant, let's say magic user in a fantasy.
Psy-Freak. So that's an example. He mentioned psionics before. I guess that's this game's kind of version of magic in a way, so that's interesting.
Or you can do Commando. That will make you look like Rambo, you know, with the bandana and just a bare chest. Obviously, it's furred, but and ammo belt, and so
it's like a gun specialist.
There's a number of classes there that will dictate your starting weapon preferences, also your starting gear, and a few other things.
Oh, let's stop here for a moment. Okay, so rarity, common, plus. So this makes it. Is that a toothbrush? This is a toothbrush. So you can get a variety of different weapons, and there's crafting as well, which is interesting. And then you get damage numbers and ranges add-ons. So maybe there's like different mods you can put onto your weapons. Weapon classes. So this is a heavy toothbrush. You can see attack speed, pierce, armor pierce. Yeah, so enemies can be armored, and critical chance. Very interesting.
So that's a quite important choice, which is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But it's like any other RPG, but our classes are a little bit more Biomutant-ish, if you want. Yeah, here you see the crafting as well. So weapon choices are quite interesting in the beginning, but obviously you can unlock all of the weapon preferences later on as you level.
Oh yeah, the vehicles.
Yeah, I believe you combine parts to create unique weapons. Is that right?
A bubble?
Yeah, we saw a little bit here in the video. It's like it's a very expensive crafting system. So it's super deep. I mean, you can take, like you saw in the video, we took a big toothbrush part that I scavenged from a billboard in the open world. I put some crazy handle on it, and then I can actually...
Did you see that? Those open world mechanics are so cool. You can just casually climb up this cliff. Go back a little bit more.
You saw in the
video, just run up to a cliff, climb up it so fast and seamlessly. Then you just jump off and glide away. That's so cool.
Put some crazy handle on it, and then I can actually add on bits and parts on top of that toothbrush or whatever weapon I choose to create. So it's more like you're really crafting your own weapon, putting together I don't know how many thousands of combinations you can do. It's actually
so these are different vendors.
Of combinations, but it's not about the combinations. It's about how you are like finding the parts that are representing the playstyle that you want. Obviously, we also have parts that are more rare than others, and they have special abilities. They like you know, in Destiny or any other, you know, shooter game, they have custom effects. Some can shoot, you know, additional missiles or whatever for rare bits that you have to find and loot. But you also have some can shoot, you know, make your ammunition turn into fire bullets, etc. So the whole looting process is quite important in the game, and the way that you also use that creativity to craft. something that we didn't show is that you can also craft your gear, so your clothes, your jackets, your helmets, whatnot, shoulder pads. And that also comes into play when you're entering like meta zones, like heat zones, cold zones. And you have to find gear to be able to craft, you know, an oxygen mask to go into a dead zone, or, you know, a warm jacket to go into a cold zone, etc. So crafting and actually creating your own look, that's cool, but you also have to be mindful of the stats that goes along with that look. But you can also do some presets, you know, so you can immediately switch your outfit.
Oh, you're underwater.
For different presets.
This is that squid machine.
Are we underwater here in sort of a like a submarine type vehicle?
Yeah. So this is one of the more like at the center of the world. It's a big tree of life. That's a representation of the current status of the world. So compared to other games, like we are currently playing as the world is dying. You can choose to participate in taking it down or help bringing it down, or try to save it. So there are 4 routes stretching across this whole wide open world in 4 directions. At the end of each route, there's a huge boss. And now we're looking at a few of them. So in order to get to the resolution of this tree of life and world destiny, if you want, the fate of the world, you're going to take on these world eaters.
Jeez.
And at the end of the fight, you're kind of, you know, seeing the conclusion of earlier decisions, not to spoil anything.
So he's saying that there's like, well, there were 4 of them, right? 4 roots of like the world tree that represents the life of the world. And these things are called world eaters because they're trying to destroy them. They're trying to eat them up. And if you want to save the world, you got to kill these things. So it's kind of like 4 mega bosses. I believe it was heavy Monster Hunter vibes. I'm kind of seeing that too with a lot of these big monsters. I wonder like how frequent they're going to be. They can't take too long to kill, or it might just get really tedious, but it looks really cool. The combat looks enjoyable. The customization looks really nice. The environments look good. Really curious to see how this continues to play out. For sure,
you're also allied with one of these tribes that has a goal towards the conclusion of the end of the world. So each of these bosses, you're using, let's say, a vehicle. You mentioned, and we saw this submarine, but there are other versions that you saw. So that we have a mech there that you use to fight one of them. There's also a mount later on, and
I wouldn't block that. I'd get out of the way.
So there are different means for those epic boss fights that you are not, you know, on foot. But there are also like other bosses, as you saw here, where you are on foot or on a mount or whatever you choose to be using, like these ones, for example. But these are like the big world eaters. Like this one is a big world eater, for example. This is the one that you use the mech for.
Gotcha. So some of this footage, a lot of it's giving me sort of a Legend of Zelda vibe. Was that one of your inspirations working on this game?
Oh wait, what?
No, I mean.
You killed him from the inside.
This game,
I feel like that's a spoiler.
Breath of the Wild was not out.
Sure.
But obviously, we love the series, right? So it has inspirations from a lot of things, but also other popular culture. I mean, I don't think it comes as a surprise that we like Kung Fu Panda, for example. So.
Gotcha.
But
I get a lot of Shifu vibes from this little guy.
Or whatever. I mean, it's a bit of Ratchet in there.
With the gunplay, I could see that too.
Wise, you have, if you look at my shirt, Devil May Cry, or I think it's also, people are saying it's more like Arkham stylish, but also some parts of Ratchet, so it's a kind of a hybrid where, you know, we are 18 people now. A lot of the design decisions are made, you know, from us together as a team. So that means that there's a juxtaposition or a agreement on what we call a free flow combat
Looks
system.
Really good.
In general, and inspiration for the world, if that's what you're talking about, it's colorful and vibrant, and that's what I also love with Zelda.
Looks beautiful. I'm excited.
Anyway, I was sidetracked a little bit there. Question?
No, it's fine. I didn't think this was possible, but I think that footage just made me even more excited for Biomutant.
Me too. Me too.
Any sort of idea of when everyone's going to be able to finally play it?
I mean, like, we are at the end phase of development, right? And I started with this when you asked me in the beginning, like, what have we been doing? And we're doing the same thing, you know, in a massive game like this, and it's very big. Like I say, it's the largest game that I ever worked on. You will have issues, right? You will have technical challenges to overcome, and artistic too. But at this stage of the project, it's more like cleaning out. You know, we're squashing bugs, right? So, and trying to make these end decisions on making sure that the player, let's say, understands what to do. That's one of the challenges in an open world game. Like, you know, you always have this choice of how free are you in this world? And in the beginning of the development, we were kind of like, yeah, let's make the player totally free. But it showed like too much freedom is not really epic too, because you get too much freedom, you don't know what to do, right? So
that's
gradually,
true.
we've also been working with trying to streamline that more. So you always know what you want, what you'd be supposed to be doing, but then you can deviate from that at any point and do whatever you want. I mean, because literally you're free to go after the first half hour of the game. You can really go anywhere you want in this world, but that's also a challenge for those that, you know, might be needing more help or guidance. So we're working on that, trying to conclude that part of the development as well. So it's more like user experience and primarily squashing those bugs.
Got it. Well, Biomutant continues to look super, super cool.
I like
Stefan,
it.
thank you so much for giving us this update.
It. Very good.
Thank you for having me.
That looks really, really good. The core gameplay looks fun. Looks like a lot of interesting boss fights. You were saying that that there's some Chinese mythology inspirations here, friend, about a world tree. I wouldn't know. I'm not really familiar. But what I do know is this looks cool. The character customization looks interesting. Like just choosing your out of 6 possible DNA strains, it'll affect your character appearance. You could decide to be more psionic focused, which is like their form of magic. You can be, you know, more nimble. You can be a big brute. And then they even have class systems after that, like to specialize in the magics more, or go guns blazing with their Rambo class. You can climb walls effectively. You can fly around. It's a really open, beautiful world. There's a really nice crafting system, lots of weapon variety. Really, really interesting. Lots of vehicle variety too. Different environments you fight in, like you fight underwater. And it's like sometimes he's riding like it kind of looked like a horse. It wasn't exactly a horse, but different kind of creatures you can ride around like within the actual boss fights. Very, very interesting. Like this looks really, really cool. This definitely looks like something I'd be very interested to play. There are vendors as well where you can buy different weapons. What the heck is this? Like, okay, this is obviously a gun. What is this supposed to be a gun? I mean, I get it. It has that real scavenger feel. You know, you make different weapons out of the weirdest of stuff. I mean, you had like a toothbrush melee weapon. You have a clockwork hand for a robot. Yeah, this must be psionics. Like this guy's in a bubble and people are sticking in it, and then he like detonates the bubble to like damage them. And we also saw later on where a guy was like flying around, like not gliding, but like just straight up flying and like shooting his guns. That must have been a psionic thing too. I don't know if I can find that clip. But I imagine that's a psionic ability as well. There's a lot of customization here. It looks really good. Green draggy, maybe. I'll try to be blue. I mean, if I'm going to try to color myself blue if I can. Where I throw my money other than you thinking. He tried to know me, but I defeated him from the inside. The honesty, yeah. He seems really passionate. I like, and I like what he said about the open world stuff too, because it's true. A lot of games, it's like, oh, just make it free, like, do whatever the heck you want. I hate that. Because when you give me that, it's like, I don't know what to do. It's just like, oh, okay, great. I could go do random stuff. Like, it might be fun for a little bit while it's new, but then I get bored. I need some kind of objective to keep things moving. That's why I like this whole world tree thing. And I like that it's bosses, because then it's like, okay, it kind of feels a bit like Breath of the Wild in that sense. And I mean, he even mentioned there's a bit of inspiration from that and other games like Devil May Cry and whatnot. And Kung Fu Panda, because yeah, I mean, this guy screams Master Shifu. He really did look like Master Shifu, the guy you play as like the ninja koala and whatnot, the Kung Fu koala. But the reason why I said Breath of the Wild is because one of the premises of Breath of the Wild is once you get past the tutorial, I mean, you could head straight for Ganon right away, but good luck. Like, you will die. You will get destroyed. Unless you're like some speedrunner who knows exactly what they're doing. You're going to get destroyed if you go there. Like, yes, you could technically go for the end objective right away, but it's just unrealistic. You need to go explore, do stuff, progress the storyline to get stronger before the average player can head in that direction. So I imagine these monsters at the different roots of the world tree will always be there, and you can go to them at any time, but you probably don't want to until you get a lot stronger. So I really like how they handled that, because I liked how that was in Breath of the Wild. I like how they handled that here too. And I saw what you said, by the way, Eco, Big Eggs Eco, it's good to see you. You would draw fan art for this game. It looks awesome. Thank you. He's cuter. Thank you so much, Heroes. I appreciate it. Is so cute? Yes, I appreciate it. This is my favorite game of all, trailer of all time. Reminds me of game devs, No Man's Sky, they did 360 made a legend of games. People are just super honest, wholesome with their inspiration. So honestly, I like honesty games. I agree, Fen. I agree 100%. Empowering, Jackie. Thank you, Dream. I love you too. Far Cry 5 is a good example. Too much open world. I haven't played Far Cry 5, but I'll take your word for it. My ears burn. Who's getting painted? I'm not getting painted. No one's getting painted. But yes. That's pretty much all I have to say on that. It looks really, really cool. A lot of diversity. One of the concerns I have is if it's so many of these big monsters, if that's mostly what it is. I mean, there's definitely smaller ones too. Like, where was that bubble clip where you got like smaller guys sticking to you? But it seems like there's so many big monsters, and if they all turn out to be like Monster Hunter, where like it takes maybe 20 minutes to kill something, and if they're extremely common, Well, it's gonna get kind of tedious to kill these bigger monsters, you know? Then it's gonna kind of get annoying, like, oh great, another big guy, and then you just might not want to fight him because it takes too long. So you have to be careful about how many of the, like, on the surface it looks great, but I do see a potential problem if they put too, depending on how long it takes to kill them. If it takes a really long time to kill them, and they're super common, they're gonna be really tedious to fight. It's gonna be obnoxious. I imagine that won't be the case. I'm sure that, like, that's common sense. They'll figure something out for that. Like, I mean, the way it works in Monster Hunter is, I mean, you move quest by quest. Like, yes, they take a while to kill, but that's ultimately, like, the core gameplay. But I mean, exploring an open world and seeing a bunch of these big monsters back to back to back, yeah, that would be kind of annoying. Imagine, like, you're a Monster Hunter World open world where there's, like, I don't know, 100 or 200 of, like, Monster Hunter World monsters, like, out in the open, and you just have to, like, kill them one by one. Like, you kill one, and then, like, you move forward a little bit, and there's, like, another one. Like, you would get annoyed after a while. So I'm sure they'll be careful with that. They'll balance that out a certain way to maybe these monsters. I'm sure these root ones will probably take a very long time to kill. They'll probably be very complicated. But I would like to believe that the ones you see more commonly out in the wild probably won't take as long to kill. Those are my thoughts. At any rate, those are all my thoughts on this. If you like this video, please leave a like and comment. It does help out a lot. I do upload a new video every single day, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out. I also stream daily on Twitch starting at 12 p.m. Central and ending at 4 p.m. Central, so make sure you follow me there to catch when I'm live. Link is in the description. But that's it for that. We're going to be heading on over to The Last of Us Part 2. Now we're just going to end up on my streams channel, so I'll see you there.